Madamwa agus fáilte go scaling our legacy. Ócaid fiúil specialta chun cealar dhéanamh ar ionad technoliacht na Gaillimhe atá 5 blianas fid ar a bhód. Good morning and welcome to Scaling Our Legacy, a special virtual event celebrating the last 25 plus years of the Galway Technology Centre. My name is Paul Killoran. I'm the founder and CEO of Ordo, and I'm honoured to be the MC for today's special event. For many in Galway's tech community, it feels like Galway Technology Centre has always been here. From my perspective, this has absolutely been the case. 13 years ago, I left my bedroom to take up an office in the GTC. It was my first major step on my entrepreneurial journey. A journey that would see me start in the cube, move into an office, move into a second office, before finally moving into a third office. And then I raised an investment round, flying the nest and taking up an office in Galway's West End. For me, it's hard to imagine that before 1994, this amazing facility did not exist. Galway Technology Centre was born out of necessity. There was a gap in the ecosystem that needed to be filled, and doing that, the centre has thrived by doing exactly that ever since. Of course, of today's proceedings, you'll be hearing from a wide range of speakers. They'll be providing a sense of the history of the centre, talking about how it helps the ICT community in Galway and throughout the West. You'll get to hear about the exciting plans for the future of the centre through the upcoming AcademyWest expansion. We'll have contributions from political dignitaries, leading figures from important governmental agencies, business groupings and academic institutions. You'll also be hearing about the people who make the centre what it is today, representatives of companies who have called the centre home. Like me, many want to acknowledge the role played by the GTC in their success. We're broadcasting this virtual event from the studios of Sound to Light in Galway. Some of the contributions have already been recorded and others will involve live and remote links. Obviously, these connections are subject to the whims of the internet gods, so please bear with us if there are any interruptions. We'd also like to get your special messages over the course of the event. Please share your thoughts using the hashtag #ScalingOurLegacy. Agus a méid sin genta, tá an áthas an céad séarnach de chuid na Gaillimhe, méar na Gaillimhe, Mike Cupboard, a cur láthar chun an ócáid seo a oscailt go hifigiúil.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Scaling Our Legacy, a celebration of Galway Technology Centre's 25 plus years and a look at the exciting future of the centre. I'm delighted as Mayor of Galway to be here this morning and honoured to officially open this event. When you see the lineup of speakers today that are participating, you will see how highly valued the Galway Technology Centre is and the great influence the centre has had locally, nationally and internationally since it opened its doors in 1994. It has become such a central part of the business and IT ecosystem here in Galway, and it's now hard to imagine life without the centre being at the heart of our ICT community. The focus this centre has brought to the development of enterprise and technology has been key for Galway and the entire Western region. Galway is serious about innovation and has been since this centre opened its doors. Galway Technology Centre has been a signpost for innovation enterprises who were given the confidence to build and to thrive by coming to Galway. That impact has seen the centre play a major role and is supporting the growth and development of businesses, economic, social and cultural life across Galway. To date, over 300 companies have been supported, over 3,000 jobs have been created, and over 1.3 billion euros in gross value has been added to Galway and the Western region. These are impressive figures. In fact, 41 companies currently call Galway Technology Centre their home today. The centre has also been a vital landing point for many foreign companies who have sought to establish operations on Irish shores. Businesses such as EA and Wayfair, household names who have added to the thriving tech and enterprise ecosystem here in Galway, and who have contributed massively to the development and expansion of the ICT business environment across the city, the county and beyond. These things just don't happen. They need to be carefully managed. They need to be given space and opportunity to thrive. They need an ecosystem where collaboration is not just possible, but it's actively encouraged and fostered. This is what they get when they come through the doors at Galway Technology Centre. Relationships have grown, new ideas have been born, and the spirit of collaboration is truly alive and well. Of course, this event today is not just about looking back. We will also be looking ahead to the exciting future of the centre. I am thrilled at the potential impact offered by the AcademyWest expansion, and I look forward to hearing more details during today's presentation. This will be a development that will have massive implications for the centre and bring them to a new level. It promises to be the start of another impressive phase of the centre's development, and I have no doubt it will add further important layers to the refinement of our Galway tech and enterprise ecosystem. So as you celebrate 25 plus years, do not underestimate the impact you have had on Galway and beyond. Your influence, your guidance, and your encouragement to others has shone through. Galway is open for business. Galway has been, Galway is, and Galway will be the place for promising companies and entrepreneurs to flourish. As a local authority, we look forward to seeing Galway Technology Centre continue to shine and to continue to be the beacon of technology and enterprise across the West. Whilst today's spotlight may be on Galway Technology Centre for these celebrations, we know that the fantastic facility will continue to illuminate Galway and life in Galway for many years to come. Gurmí Amagah.
Míle buchas a socht an tám a hoogtú bheith pártach léinn aniu, agus tá gachtain ó anad technolit na Gaillimhe fíorhuiach a sochtach chud takeíocht i gcónaí. We greatly appreciate you taking the time to participate, and I know everybody involved in the Galway Technology Centre is grateful for your ongoing support. Our next speaker understands the importance of the Galway Technology Centre. He'll be able to give you a sense of the strategic, vital role played by the centre locally, regionally and nationally. Here is an Taoiseach and Minister for Enterprise, Trade and Employment, Leo Varadkar.
Hi, Leo Varadkar here. Thanks very much for inviting me to take the Galway Technology Centre. My special thanks go to Frank Green, Noreen Conway, Councillor Mike Hubbard, and of course my Cabinet colleague Hildegard Naughton for the opportunity to speak to you today. Congratulations to all the team on this really significant milestone in the Centre's history. With our highly skilled workforce, our place at the heart of the European Union, the common travel area with Britain, our special relationship with the United States, and of course the implementation of the National Broadband Plan, Ireland is uniquely placed to become the tech capital of Europe, attracting the very best talent and investment from all around the world. Indeed, due to centres like the Galway Technology Centre, we're already well on our way on that journey. Galway Technology Centre has played a vital role in the evolution and growth of the tech sector in Galway and the West. It's been crucial to attracting and accommodating high-profile FDI companies, creating job opportunities for thousands over the years. In 2009, approximately 1,800 people worked in FDI tech-related roles in Galway. Today that figure is closer to 7,500, and I understand 3,000 of those jobs are directly linked to companies supported by GTC. That's incredible. Companies like EA Games, Wayfair, Cyberscout, Ipswich and MathWorks are all former tenants of the centre, having used it as their first base in Ireland to establish their operations before scaling up and moving to their own facilities in Galway. The supportive and collaborative environment and highly experienced staff within the centre are a big support to these companies, helping them to get grounded quickly when they arrive. I know the team work really hard to provide this service, which spans from practical support helping with office space to facilitating network and knowledge sharing opportunities, helping companies to build a network and community, and I'd like to pay tribute to that and thank you for all of your endeavours today. As well as supporting FDI companies, the Centre also helps Indigenous companies establish themselves. Several of these have been to the forefront of our fight against the virus, developing solutions for industry and consumers. Companies like 3D Technologies, MedScan 3D, Siren Solutions, Employability Galway and PlanNet 21 to name but a few. These are companies helping to make a real difference, helping with medical supplies and contact tracing among other things, and should be really proud of the contribution that they've made over the past few months. The pandemic has caused us all to pause to reconsider how we work and interact with our communities. And I know the Centre has gone to a big effort to help all of those within its network to adapt and survive during this really challenging period. So thank you again for all the work you've done. I'll leave it there. Enjoy the virtual celebrations. Congratulations again. Stay safe and thank you.
Thank you, Taoiseach. Galway Technology Centre has a proud record of collaboration. They have established strong connections over the years with organisations and individuals. Over the next two speakers are prime examples of these important collaborative relationships. Katrina Blewett is the West Regional Business and Best Regional Manager for the IDA. The IDA have been a tremendous supporters of the Centre over the years. She will be followed by Professor Ciaran O'Hocherty, President of NUI Galway. The Centre and NUI Galway have forged deep bonds throughout the last 25 years, thanks to their extensive cooperation. A number of startups who were nurtured and given their first opportunities in NUI Galway have been able to take the next steps in their corporate journey through the Centre. We are delighted to have Leading Lights taking part today.
Hi, Katrina Blewett, IDA Ireland's West Regional Manager. We are delighted to be part of this important milestone celebration for the Galway Technology Centre. And we want to wish the team at the GTC a huge congratulations on all of the achievements over the past 25 years, especially the fundamental role played by the GTC in the growth and development of the technology ecosystem in Galway. Being one of Ireland's largest enterprise centres now with 40 companies, over 300 staff and a wealth of talent and innovation within the centre, it makes it a great location for us in IDA Ireland to showcase and market the strength of the technology sector in Galway. The GTC also provides a fast landing solution for incoming FDI client companies who use the GTC to allow them to quickly and easily establish their base in Galway. IDA client companies such as EA Games, Wayfair, Cyberscout, Ipswich, MathWorks, to name but a few, have all used the GTC as their initial base in Galway, and from there have grown and scaled and moved to their own facilities. It is a vital service and the GTC are a fundamental partner for IDA Ireland. We want to wish the team at the GTC all the very best as you move into the next chapter, and we look forward to continuing our very strong friendship and our very strong partnership as into the next 25 years.
Har ceann go leir an Galway Ballum Corgordicus a roint agus hort le agus buchas leis an aine technoliacht in the Galway. On behalf of NUI Galway, congratulations to the Galway Technology Centre on their 25th anniversary, providing an excellent service to Galway and its community in over a long number of years, and a service that's evolving over time, and particularly in the current context has a particular role to play in providing services, space, technology, advice to, with regard to technology to a range of stakeholders. And we're always pleased as NUI Galway to support our neighbours and to congratulate the Galway Technology Centre and all those involved in the great work done. And we're now in a changing environment, and I'm sure that as in the past, the Galway Technology Centre will in the future also serve its community very well in change times, and even more so in times when technology plays an even more important role in everyday life. So Corcordicus Livilig, Gormahagav, agus lá brethe faoi waise fé cuaig bliain ar a bhód agus sibh adul iméid agus adul aníis ach adul a dreisig freisin. So go míle agah agus Corcordicus Livilig. Thank you.
Good morning, thank you, Katrina and Professor O'Hocherty. The impetus for today's event has been to mark the milestone of Galway Technology Centre celebrating 25 plus years. Few are better placed to tell us about the history of this facility than Chairman Frank Green. Frank has been a tremendous advocate for the Galway Technology Centre and is rightly passionate about the place the centre occupies amongst Galway's business community. A former manager with AIB, Frank has also served as president of Galway Chamber. He is a director with both Galway Harbour and Chambers Ireland and is also an alternate on the European Economic Committee. He has served as chairman of Galway Technology Centre since 2013. In this video, Frank will provide us with a condensed history of the centre.
Today, Galway Technology Centre is a modern dynamic facility which supports 41 young ambitious companies. It's a social enterprise which not only benefits Galway, but whose positive impact is felt throughout the West region. However, it hasn't always looked like this. It was from humble beginnings that the story of Galway Technology Centre evolved. From a seed planted in ashen ground that was able to take root and flourish. Before Galway Technology Centre existed, first there was need. A need that came through the unfortunate demise of Digital Equipment Corporation's Galway facility. The company had been operating in Galway since 1971. It was the largest employer in the city and had peaked providing a total of 2,000 jobs. In 1993, it was announced that the Galway facility would close the following year. 700 direct employees were to be made redundant and approximately another 450 indirect jobs lost. Solutions were urgently needed. They arrived in the form of a specially established government task force led by Seamus Keating, then Galway City and County Manager. The task force was instrumental in raising funds and in creating a facility for the purpose of encouraging and supporting the development of an Indigenous technology-based industry in this region. The task force called on Galway Chamber of Commerce, Westbig and on Forward to turn their radical proposal into a transformative action. And so in February 1994, Galway Technology Centre was born, the first innovation centre in Ireland. The task force and stakeholder committee had proven such a success that the government repeatedly used the model on several subsequent occasions. Great praise indeed for all concerned. At that time, the facility had a footprint of 6,000 square feet and consisted of 8 individual units. The initial batch of 7 startups were all formed by ex-digital employees. They included the like of Cybernet, QuickTech, Tuconic Technology and employed a total of 26 people. Inside a year, Galway Technology Centre had to double its capacity to cope with demand. Adjoining premises were leased from the IDA, which were then subleased to another 11 new IT companies. The formula was working. Some of the early companies were born in the centre, expanded and then graduated to stand on their own, proving how impactful the centre was and how important a role it could play as an incubator. As the centre continued to thrive throughout the 90s, further expansion was soon on the cards. At the turn of the millennium, the neighbouring site was acquired thanks to local assistance. A new 50,000 square foot building was constructed at the cost of $4.5 million. The same modern state-of-the-art technology centre that we currently use today. It became one of Ireland's flagship innovation centres, and its social enterprise mission was reinforced with a key focus on supporting regional job creation. Scaling was a key focus, and GTC helped the major expansion in companies such as Storm Technologies, Umbio and Dulog. Around this time, the centre also slightly changed tack, providing a safe harbour for companies landing on Irish soil for the first time. Internationally recognised brands like SAP and Abbott Vascular were soon calling the centre home as they established themselves in Galway, while EA also found their first Irish foothold in the centre. 2003 witnessed another innovation, the creation of the Cube. This flexible, modular co-working space gave the centre greater ability to cater for companies from day one, giving pre-startups and early-stage enterprises a suitable location to begin their corporate journeys. By encouraging collaboration, Galway Technology Centre was able to provide a home to innovative companies and people who wanted to make their ideas happen. It was this principle that led the centre to help in establishing our sister innovation facility called the Portershed throughout 2015 and 2016. Since 1994, Galway Technology Centre has travelled a long way. The centre has had an impact in multiple ways throughout Galway and across the wider West region. Our story isn't just the story of these bricks and mortar. It is the story of the businesses and the people who have inhabited this facility and their many successes. Galway Technology Centre is proof that when social enterprise profits, society profits. Since our doors first opened, we have supported over 300 companies and 3,000 jobs. which have generated more than 1.3 billion in GBA for the West region. We will continue to offer scale-up space and supports for innovation ICT companies, providing a platform for these businesses to grow while allowing the benefits to be shared across the West. As missions go, we believe that it is an important one, and it is one we hope will continue to progress for a very long time to come.
Thank you, Frank. My name is Thomas Fisher, and I'm the Deputy Manager of Galway Technology Centre. Like Frank, I have developed a keen interest in the history of the centre. As we were preparing for today's celebrations, we undertook some research into its foundation and all that was involved in establishing this facility. A facility which was rightly seen as an original solution in its own right, being the first tech innovation centre in Ireland. As Frank mentioned in his video, that elegant solution was shaped in a response to the closure of digital, a dark moment for Galway and the West. But out of those shadows, a new dawn was born, thanks to the work by the Galway Task Force, led by Seamus Keating. While the success of Galway Technology Centre has had many mothers and fathers, we felt there was one person we had to thank. As we are marking the history of the centre, we didn't think it would be complete without acknowledging the immense contribution made by Seamus Keating. We were honoured that Seamus accepted the inaugural Innovator of the West Award. Frank presented the award to Seamus on behalf of Galway Technology Centre earlier this week. I know everyone involved with Galway Technology Centre would like to extend our deep thanks and gratitude to Seamus, as well as to the many others who were involved in the birth of the centre.
Thanks, Thomas. To delve a little bit deeper into the history and the context of the founding of the centre, we want to discuss this topic a little further. We are delighted to be joined by two individuals who are well placed to provide some background on the development of the centre. They will be able to offer a strong perspective on the place it has occupied amongst the business and enterprise communities in Galway and throughout the West. JP Gilmartin is President of Galway Chamber and partner of Ronan Daly German. JP has been a corporate lawyer for 15 years and has a comprehensive understanding of the evolution of the business and tech environment in the west of Ireland. John Brennan is the CEO of Westpic and has also served as the Galway Technology Centre manager for almost 12 years. We couldn't have found two more appropriate people for this discussion. Thank you both for joining us. Good morning, lads.
Morning, Paul. How are you?
How are you doing? You're well?
Thank you. Good.
Great stuff. I have a few questions for you today that I'm going to go to. First, I'm going to ask the same question to both of you, which is, tell me a little bit about the background of your organisation and its involvement in the Galway Technology Centre. And I'll go first to John with that question.
Okay. So we were originally members of the task force that Frank mentioned, that I suppose came up with the original idea and identified the need for a technology centre. We provided startup support to those companies, the 7 companies that started off in the first phase of GTC. And we had an on-site presence for the first year of GTC while the building and the centre got up and running. And then I think as the centre progressed, we moved to join forces again with the Chamber in the development of the centre, which is now in place and was commissioned in 1999, 2000 and opened in May 2001.
Great stuff, John. Thank you very much. Since you mentioned the Chamber, JP, do you want to tell us a little bit about the Chamber's involvement in the Galway Technology Centre?
Yeah, sure. Delighted to. So, as many of you will know, Galway Chamber has been in existence for over 230 years now. And, we have a membership of 500 companies, which in turn represent over 27,000 employees. But the Chamber has been deeply embedded in Galway's innovation ecosystem over a very long period of time. We have a proud history of supporting innovators, entrepreneurs, startup businesses, scaling companies, and indeed FDI companies looking at establishing operations in the region. And I suppose we work tirelessly to ensure that Galway is and will continue to be a vibrant, leading edge location for business and investment. But I suppose in terms of Galway Chamber's involvement with GTC, similar to Westpic, that goes back to its very foundation. The Chamber, together with Westpic and Galway City Council, formed part of that original government task force, which was mobilised following the announcement of the digital closure. I suppose that task force recognised the very highly skilled and educated workforce which remained in the wake of digital's departure. And really the task force set about identifying what could be done to retain, support and develop this talent and entrepreneurial capacity. And that in turn led to the establishment of the GTC, in which both Galway Chamber and Westbic are shareholders. And over the last 25 years, the Chamber and Westbic have worked hand in hand with GTC, and all of our objectives are very much aligned. We want to enable and support technology-based scaling companies to grow. We want to attract foreign direct investment into the region with the ambition of creating sustainable, high-value jobs. And the GTC really is a truly great and powerful example of successful collaboration between the public and private sectors. And we're excited to be involved in the next phase of GTC's evolution through the AcademyWest project.
Great stuff, JP. So I remember coming home from school, I remember Galway Bay FM being on, and I remember hearing the news coming through of digital closure. John, can you put into words, because I was only a wee gosser at the time, can you put into words what it was like for the people of Galway hearing that news and the impact it had on the city?
Yeah, I think there's a huge number of job losses. Digital was the heartbeat of an industrial Galway at the time, and it was just a huge blow. But I think out of that loss, funny enough, came a new energy, and out of that came the growth of a cluster of tech companies, which has grown over time, and I think Galway found a new energy, a new inspiration, and out of that, I think what happened was we refound our feet again, and new tech companies, new med tech companies replaced digital, and off we went again to much higher levels, actually, I think, than we ever would have expected.
Wow, yeah, really is an amazing success story. John, just briefly, because I remember the first day that I walked through that door and I met your face on the other side of that door. One of the distinct memories I have of my early days was sitting down for coffees with you, which I'm sure you didn't just give to me. But can you talk a little bit about what it was like for people in the centre in those early days?
Yeah, I think there's two phases. I think the first phase was the original centre that was opened in the mid 90s, and that, I think it's important to remember, that was an IDA advanced factory, and it had to be completely modified to make it to accommodate the needs of a tech company. So, in fact, a lot of the furniture originally came from digital. I gather partitions and furniture originally came from digital. So it was a makeshift centre, if you like, but it served those early stage clients in a really good manner, and it provided a foundation and a base for the early tech companies to develop. And then I think as we got towards the late 90s, obviously, the emerging young tech companies needed a different kind of space, a different quality of space. And that's what gave rise to the development of GTC as it stands now. And really, the objective there was to provide a plug and play solution. So when Paul Killorn called and he was looking to talk to somebody, we were basically saying to him, Paul, all you need is yourself, your team, your know-how and your laptop, and we do the rest. So you plug into GTC and off you go. You don't have to spend money on infrastructure. You just bring your know-how and your team with you, and off you go. And I think one of your own early comments really emphasized what GTC was about, because you talked about coming in, taking a seat in the cube, then moving to a unit, then moving to another unit. And that was really a concept that we promoted from day one, which was the idea that you can have one address in GTC. You can start with a desk and you can grow from a desk space to be, if you like, the biggest company in the center. So that option to go, grow, graduate, have all of the key infrastructure in place that you needed was essential. So it was to provide the infrastructure and the space and the facilities available for those companies to grow without having to spend money on, those, if you like, key enabling infrastructure pieces.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember walking up the Wellpark Road and stopping off in Woody's to buy my coffee cup because I already had the laptop. I mean, literally, that's all I had to bring on day one. JP, we'll talk about early kernels of startups and the story and the journey that I went through. Obviously, the Chamber, have been established for a very long time, supporting business in Galway. we need to produce scale-ups. We need the larger companies because they're really what sustain business. So I suppose my question is, and your involvement with the chamber, how has the GTC helped us with attracting some of the IDA companies that have been coming in, that have established benefits, and that also have helped our own Indigenous to scale up? We'll talk about PlanNet 21 later on. So many companies like that. How has that been beneficial to the city and to the chamber?
Yeah, Paul, I think it's a vital cog in the wheel in terms of being able to support not only our Indigenous scaling companies, but also, as you say, the FDI companies who are looking for a landing base in Galway. And I think Galway Technology Centre is ideally placed to support that, and has done, and has a great track record in doing that over the years. And I suppose one of the key points I'd like to say is that at the very core of the existence of GTC is an ongoing commitment to promote enterprise and facilitate growth, and create a sense of community in Galway, which is hugely important to particularly the FDI companies landing here. And I think GTC recognises that with key stakeholders working together in this region with a shared and aligned vision, that so much more can be achieved. And I suppose it's for that reason that GTC collaborates so closely with other stakeholders like the third level sector, regional accelerators, and state agencies and other local stakeholders to promote economic development of the city and the region. So, Galway is a much better place today for the success and the hard work and dedication of everyone involved with GTC, Paul.
Absolutely. I mean, it's interesting you talk about community, and you talk about the chamber as almost that ring fence around the community and different types of communities and how they link together, which I suppose is really the role of Galway Chamber, irrespective of whether it's an IDA type of community, whether it's the Indigenous community, or even non-tech business, which we often sometimes which have an enormous role in the city as well. John, I want to go back to you. You touched on it earlier. We've seen a whole lot of different types of companies coming through the centre. The agents like myself arriving with the door and the coffee cup and everything else. But obviously earlier, how have you seen, I suppose, the characteristics between companies that use the centre in the early days versus the ones that are coming through the doors today?
Yeah, funny enough, I think there hasn't been a huge change with the companies. I think there was really good companies in the early days. It started off with companies like Toucan and Cybernet, who were really great companies, and those guys came with a huge amount of know-how and capability from digital, because as one former digital employee described digital to me once, it was like a university. Whatever you needed, you got in digital. So those early companies came with a lot of know-how and a lot of tech know-how. I think the same is true of the companies today, but where I see the difference is that the ecosystem has developed hugely in the interim period. The supports that are available through Enterprise Ireland for HPSUs, you have seed funding such as the Competitive Start Fund, you have the availability of business angel networks, business angel syndicates, and you also have a range of accelerator programs, etc., that all support startups to, I suppose, achieve commercial validation, get their foothold in the market. And I think that's one of the big changes that I would have seen in the interim period, is that the ecosystem has developed hugely in that period. I think the other thing that has supported the growth of tech in Galway and the cluster of really good quality tech companies is that the technology as a sector has grown exponentially. In those early days, we didn't have always on internet, we didn't have smartphone technology, you didn't have e-commerce everywhere, IoT, robotics, AI, etc. And all of those have created new opportunities for Irish companies and have created opportunities for the deployment of new business models, etc. And I think our Irish companies and our companies in Galway have latched onto that, and long may that continue, because I think that level of innovation is really crucial to the growth of the sector.
Great stuff, lads. Lads, we could talk all day, but unfortunately I'm going to have to bring it to a close and move on. But thank you both for joining us this morning. Good morning, lads, for your participating today and for your continued support of the centre. Our next speaker is a great example of somebody who used the platform provided by the centre to grow an innovative and successful business. Denise Twarmy is president and co-founder of PlanNet 21, Communications. They are a company that provides specialised converged network solutions. It has grown to maintain operations in Ireland, the US and the UK, supporting clients all across Europe and America. Earlier this week, Acting Centre Manager Noreen Conway spoke with Denise.
Good afternoon, Noreen. I can't believe we're the longest serving tenant in the GTC. Oh my word. It doesn't seem like that long ago since we sat down with John Brennan of Westbeck and tried to convince him to let PlanNet 21 into the centre. I recall him asking, why do you want to come into the GTC? And I guess the reasons back then and the reasons now are not too different. We needed a launch pad, a serviced office, somewhere close to the city and somewhere close to the archeries. The shared services, back then we needed the fax machine, probably not as relevant anymore, but you know, the likes of the internet, the voice, the photocopier was important, the common receptionist, all very important items to us. On top of that, and arguably more important, was the subsidised rent for the first couple of years what we spent there. Cash flow is quite a valuable commodity when you're starting off, and it was very appreciative of the support we got from the centre starting off. Also, I would say the business community in the centre, when you're starting off, certainly we were very inexperienced entrepreneurs, just 4 years out of college, out of the University of Limerick, after coming up with this, or after learning about this new technology. We hadn't a clue really how to sell our wares. So having a business community locally and I suppose in residence was of benefit. I would also argue that a wider business community such as the ITAG, the Porter Shed, the Chamber, IDA, Enterprise Ireland, all go a huge way towards the Galway and the west of Ireland business fabric, and we're very happy to support their initiatives. So PlanNet 21, planning networks in the 21st century, 23 years on the road now, oh my God. We deliver ICT solutions to enterprise customers and public sector. In the early days, we were lucky enough to break into the enterprise customers that IDA had landed here in Ireland, and I'm happy to report that we do business with a lot of the kind of household names or iconic names that are here in Ireland and have grown with them as they have scaled into Europe and beyond. Public sector, we had a little bit of learning to do there. We didn't really understand about tendering and frameworks, and there was a lot of trial and error, but we have managed to crack a few, and I'm happy to report that the likes of the Central Bank and the Revenue Commissioners, the Guards, many of the universities are among our customers. Yeah, COVID has hit us like everybody else. You know, it has been challenging working from home, but our industry has not been hit as hard as many of the others, and we're very, very grateful for that. We continue to do business with the likes of the HSC, many of the multinationals, as they've gone from working in on-prem to remote offices. We've delivered video conferencing to the Taoiseach and the Taoiseach. Hopefully they're enjoying and it's working well for them. So yeah, in general, look at PlanNet 21 have grown, I suppose, organically, you know, responding to the requests of our customers. Our customers are driving us because they need to, I suppose, get the most out of the technology and enhance their customer experiences. We have added to the portfolio quite a bit since the early days, acquiring new technologies and new vendors. We have embarked on a couple of acquisitions, both here and abroad, which of course has given us accelerated growth into new geographies. And we have added to the team. So, we continue to hope to grow the PlanNet 21 group and help customers on their digital transformation journey to the cloud, and help them, I suppose, embrace the power of the technology for the betterment of their business. So, Noreen, I guess there isn't much else to say, except we probably wouldn't have had the courage to start PlanNet 21 had we not had a really good education from, I suppose, the early days and the University of Limerick to fall back on. And just to give a nod to our parents, who each had they were each entrepreneurs in their own right, although they wouldn't accept that accolade. They owned businesses and farms and publicans and B&Bs, and my own dad was a sawmiller, so they would have encouraged us and maybe give us the courage to, I suppose, give up the day job. So, Noreen, the best of luck to you and your team, and the best of luck to the GTC, and the best of luck for the future. Congratulations.
Thank you, Denise. Wow, 23 years is an extraordinary service to your staff, to your customers, and indeed to our city. Our next contributor is a well-known face to everyone involved in business or enterprise in the West. Galway Technology Centre has had a strong record of shared purpose with the Northern and Western Regional Assembly. The two organisations have worked together effectively on several occasions, all with the objective of enhancing the ICT environment across the region. Please welcome NWRA Director David Minton, who will tell us a little bit more.
Good morning, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is David Minton, and I work as Director with the Northern and Western Regional Assembly. Unlike my very good colleagues on the panel this morning, I'm not a technology expert or an innovation leader, but I am really fortunate to work with a kind of what I describe as a rogue band of passionate custodians overseeing the strategic and the sustainable development of our region. I am, of course, referring to my great colleagues, the elected members and the executive with the Northern and Western Regional Assembly. Our job is to ensure the environment is right for you, our innovation and technology leaders, to thrive. Our work in the Assembly helps to connect our partners in Galway and across the region with the policy and funding institutions across the EU, making sure that we all feel part of the European project and the European community. For that reason, during a time when identity has become really important to people, I like to celebrate all of mine. I'm really proud to be Irish. I'm really proud to celebrate my European identity, but I'm proudest of being Galwegian. Why? Well, it's hard not to. It's really difficult to understand the magic of Galway and to explain it. In my current role, we are really fortunate to work with city leaders all across Europe. From what I see, the successful cities have 4 reoccurring traits or characteristics. The good cities have them all. The vibrant cities manage to fuse them together. And those elements are creativity, innovation, tolerance, but most importantly, an acceptance of diversity. Galway has these traits in abundance, from its buskers to its artists, sailors to our entrepreneurs, and the visitors to the locals' residents. I'm old enough to remember the closure of digital back in the 1990s and the impact it had on families, businesses, and the community. Those scars could have taken hold and defined the city, but it didn't. Galway, like always, looked to the future. It embraced innovation and it embraced technology. And that was down to city leadership, and the Galway Technology Centre has been to the fore of that over the past 25 years. Westbic, the Chamber of Commerce and the wider board deserve huge credit. It is really important that we acknowledge previous and current board members, and it would be remiss of me not to remember the impact of our colleague, the late Dr. Chris Coughlin. But again, we must look to the future. COVID has disrupted all of our thinking. Earlier than expected, we are confronted with a choice, whether to only treat the symptoms of the existing pandemic or take the opportunity and also to create the paradigm shift to prepare for the future shocks, future challenges. We, at the Regional Assembly, are planning for the paradigm shift, and so is the EU. If you haven't heard about the EU's new Green Deal, you will. Galway's entrepreneurial ecosystem can be the real winner. Why? Maybe luck, but I've always believed luck is a combination of preparation and opportunity. We now have the opportunity and we are prepared. The foundation work done by GMIT, NUIG, Westbic, the Chamber, City Council and the likes of the Portershed with the Innovation District leaves Galway utterly prepared. Then we have the vision of AcademyWest, which can become a real global technology centre. We are moving into a world where we totally invalidate all kinds of imitation. Innovation is king and queen. GTC has been doing this for 25 years. And the concept of scaling our legacy is truly remarkable. Thank you.
Thank you, David. It's great to meet another proud Galwegian, and indeed we should be very proud of everything that this city has accomplished in light of digital's departure. The Centre team have asked me to repeat our appreciation for backing of the Centre and all that you and the NWRA have done to support it. Next up is Dr. Orla Flynn, President of Galway May Institute of Technology. They continue to nourish the startup ecosystem in Galway through GMIT iHub, the New Frontiers programme and the Empower programme. She will be followed by Mary Rogers, CEO of the Galway City Innovation District. Mary is a key figure in the startup and entrepreneurial world and is someone who has worked hard and hand in hand with the GTC. The Portershed celebrate their 5th birthday next month. Congratulations to them.
Hello, Dr. Orla Flynn here, President of GMIT. I want to congratulate everyone at the Galway Technology Centre on arriving at your significant 25-year milestone. The objectives of the GTC are strongly aligned with our own engagement with startups to help them scale and raise investment. The shared ethos of close support for client companies based on a deep understanding of their needs is a key reason why they choose to locate in each facility. We help our iHub companies in their transition to suitable post-incubation spaces, and the availability of supported grow-on space is vital. We've already seen some brilliant stories of companies emerging from the iHub and making that transition to the GTC, including Hillwalk Tours and Shipwright. You've been extremely flexible in accommodating their needs, and we thank you. The Creative Enterprise West Crew project has also received funding for new innovation and incubator space for the creative industries. This will be built at GMIT Clonvera, right across the road from you, and we look forward to further connections with you in the years ahead in this exciting area. As we ourselves are about to celebrate our 50th anniversary in 2022, we're also embarking on our own changes as we drive on to become a technological university, along with partners in Sligo and Donegal. We look forward to further vibrant collaboration with you over the next 25-year period. Slán agus Berbua.
Greetings from the Portershed. It's been an absolute privilege and pleasure to work with the board and management team at Galway Technology Centre on so many projects over the past 5 years, collaborating with startup tech companies, scaling tech companies, and affecting change in the region and in Ireland. And so thanks so much for your support. It's really been an honour to work with you all. And it's a privilege to wish you all a very happy 25th birthday. So much has been achieved and there's so much more to come. We're really delighted that you're scaling your ambition, and we're really excited for the future of Galway Technology Centre and AcademyWest. On behalf of the board of Galway City Innovation District and the team here at Portershed, a very happy birthday to everyone at Galway Technology Centre. Happy birthday!
Thank you again to Mary Rogers and Dr. Orla Flynn. For our next segment, we wanted to talk a little bit about the space provided by the centre. The centre has in many ways been an invaluable resource to Galway and the West, especially within the ecosystem of scaling businesses. To explain what that means on a practical level, we wanted to hear from those who know and understand why this is important for the development of these businesses. People who can explain it, how it enables them. For our panel, we would like to welcome Brenda Dooley, CEO and founder of Access Consulting, David Stafford, Group CEO with Siren, and Chief Executive and co-founder of Ninth Impact, Mark Quick. Welcome to all of you. So we're going to kick off with a couple of questions. Hope you're not shy and you've had your coffee already this morning. First, Brenda, I'm going to go to you, and I'd like to ask you, can you tell me a little bit about your company and what does it do, and give you a sense of the scale of your business?
Thank you very much. So at Access Consulting, we help pharmaceutical companies, international companies such as Pfizer and Abbott and AbbVie. We help them achieve market entry and funding for new medicines that they wish to make available in Ireland. So we've been doing that since early 2012, and the business has grown and thankfully developed year on year and scaled so that we have operations now both here and in Dublin and just recently in Scotland.
Wow. Wonderful. Siren have been making the headlines in the recent, I suppose, year or so, with some big headlines coming out of your organisation. David, do you want to tell us a little bit about what Siren is and some of the scale of the business that you're operating at?
Sure. Thank you, Paul. And it's great to be here at the 25th anniversary of GTC, in many ways the birthplace of tech in Galway. Siren is an investigative intelligence platform, which means it allows search over structured and unstructured data. We have this magic sauce that was developed in NUI Galway with nearly 10 years of research, where it can join up all kinds of data and then search it very quickly. We're currently focused on the intelligence and law enforcement sectors, Here in Ireland, the Garda Síochána use our tech. Last year, we did 4x revenue. This year, we're hoping to do the same. Currently, we have 20 people here in GTC, and we'll be looking to double that, in the next 2 years. We also have operations in France, Italy, US. So, we're a global business operating out of GTC, and I'm proud to be here.
It's an amazing story there. It really, really is. Mark has the pleasure of occupying Unit 21, which originally was my actual office, where all the magic we left behind. And indeed, we've seen a lot of magic coming out of Ninth Impact. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what the business does and some of the success that you've had?
Yeah, we make games for mobile phones. So our current focus is developing the official games of the Big Brother TV show. We've created a digital season of Big Brother. So people can download it on their phone and then become one of the housemates and, evict all of your other housemates and make friends, make enemies, and somebody, just like the real TV show, ends up being the winner as last man standing. So we've been working on that for quite a few years in the GTC, and it just got launched at the end of last year then globally.
Great stuff. Congratulations. David, I'm going to go to you with my next question. I mean, you've mentioned operations in other countries. So obviously there was a decision to be made about, will we go to the GTC or not? So can you tell me a little bit of why you picked the GTC? What drew you originally to the GTC, and why not somewhere else? Why not Dublin?
Well, I suppose that this is a very interesting part. When I got involved with Siren, they were operating out of a house in Newcastle. There was two founders, a French founder and an Italian, who had spent 5 years of research in Galway. So one of my first jobs was convincing them to get out of the house and go to a proper office where we can bring customers and investors and, get ready to scale it up. GTC, it has a good community feel. So, for example, one of the other tenants here would be a company called Kelty IP Lawyers, which would be, we have 4 patents pending, getting good IP lawyers. So that's just an example of, good collaboration. And we found that with multiple companies in GTC, when you're trying to figure out how to scale, just sharing your story with other companies, it helps you to figure it out together.
That's great. Brenda, I get the sense that you're going to pick up a little bit on some of those things that he's talking about, that sense of collaboration, because as I understand it, that is really what you do. So can you tell me a little bit about how the space and and the community, I suppose, that space brings, and how that has impacted on your company?
Yeah, I suppose when I think of space, there's the empty space and then there's the occupied space. And for me, when I first started, it was the quiet space, but the ability to do what I needed to do and have the infrastructure and the support in terms of Wi-Fi connectivity. And I have to credit Breda Fox in Leo Galway for being the person to suggest that I needed to move out of my bedroom and into a formal sort of workspace. So I'll always be grateful to her for that steer. But then I suppose there's the occupied space, and that's, what's so important about GTC is the ability that it has to allow you to grow. So like you, Paul, I started in the cube. It almost seems like a journey for so many of us that we've made, and then moved into the office. And for me, it's allowed me to recruit, to have people here with me in the office in the pre-COVID days, but hopefully again in the future. So that's been really important to be able to bring people in to work here directly with me. Our business obviously is across Dublin as well and into the UK, but collaboration is key. And again, I would agree that being able to connect with people here, whether it's, a coffee in O'Brien's and chatting with other members, other entrepreneurs, and links and understanding, mentoring support, or even just, other business to business supports that are available here on site. I mean, that's gold dust, really.
Absolutely, yeah. Mark, we were talking about space, and is that an underappreciated concept when developing business? As I understand it, you've had many successful businesses before this. Here you are back again in the GTC developing it. How has that space helped you in developing your own business?
Well, it's so key at the start because, like the other guys, I came to the GTC with this business, and it was assisted by Breda Fox in the LEO as well. And so when I was talking to Niamh at the centre, she asked how many people we needed. So there was only 3 of us at the time. Know if that would be 5 in a year's time, would it be 10? So the flexibility of being able to say, well, we need 3 people right now, and then we'll see what happens next month. We'll see what happens next year. Like that's really key, and it's very hard to get. If it was just a commercial space, you need to make a decision on what sort of space that you're renting, and the affordability of us doing that without really, at the time, our business was so new that we were just trying to figure out these things ourselves as to how we were going to scale. And so the flexibility of space, and it's the flexibility of the people running the space is really what's the important factor there, because they moved us in the next Monday morning. So now we had an address that looks good to the world. It looks professional. We had space, and then we figured out from there where we were going. And so GTC were part of figuring out where we're going. We eventually moved into the space we have now, and we have 10 full-time people there in the space, which was just getting vacated by ex-Ordo, who were going on to bigger and better things. So, that flexibility of space was key for us. It's also, we wanted to test some of our games. And so I remember one time we asked Niamh, could she get us 20 people to test, some of the early stage games we had. And so she sent an email around the entire building. We had 20 people turn up to the big training room, within probably next day. And there was people there. So that real flexibility of whatever you wanted to do, there was people there to help and kind of support what you needed, rather than having to make decisions that you were in no position to kind of project because you were figuring out. It's been so key to our growth over the past few years.
It's great. Mark, what I'm hearing, Mark, really what you're saying is it's about managing that risk, the risk, because all of us entrepreneurs, we always think about growth, and sometimes space can actually be an inhibitor. David, the question is going to you, because you've already indicated that the scale of the growth that you're experiencing. You've mentioned the other territories that you've a presence in. So how can you talk to me a little bit about that risk aspect of it and managing that risk, and how maybe the GTC has helped you to mitigate that risk in terms of your growth and your expansion?
Well, definitely part of it is what Mark talked about. There was flexibility. When we came to GTC, we were 5 people in a small office. We have since moved office twice. First to an office to cater for 15. Now we're at an office to cater for 35. So, that's definitely risk mitigation, not committing rental, big bills. But it's the community and that, what I talked about earlier, just that shared collaboration. Every company is trying to grow. Every company has problems. So, by solving them together, you just help each other.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time this morning. It's been really great to talk with you all, hear your insights about space, and I wish you all very successful and with your careers and your business. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay. So, moving on to the next phase of our program. It's an extraordinary place to be here celebrating our 25th birthday, and I just want to thank the panelists for joining me here today. The next video that comes to us comes from someone who has witnessed the benefits of Galway technology firsthand and on several different occasions. Carol Lusted has successfully founded and run 3 very successful businesses: Blue Tree Systems in the 90s, and more recently Aptaris and Hemdal.
Hi, my name is Carl Lusted, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Aptaris, an online training company based here in the Galway Technology Centre. At Aptaris, we provide online training to the mobile workforce: truck drivers, service engineers, and technicians. People who tend to travel for a living and therefore find it difficult to access training and certification opportunities. We've been based here in the Galway Technology Centre since our inception in 2015. From our base here in the west of Ireland, we have provided online training and certification opportunities to learners in multiple countries and in multiple languages. Aptaris was not the first venture that I've been involved with here in the GTC. My journey began back in the 1990s when I was co-founder of a technology company called Blue Tree Systems. We were a startup based straight from college. The GTC was a very different location back in those days. It was a single-story building, much smaller, and the units didn't have any windows. If I remember correctly, we started with a single computer between the pair of us, so we had to take it in turns to get access to the computer in order to get our first product release out the door. We did, however, benefit enormously from the support and mentorship of the Galway Technology Centre team and the member companies that were there at the time. Blue Tree remained in the Galway Technology Centre for 5 years and went on to enjoy considerable success in the telematics area, culminating in a sale to Orbcom, a NASDAQ-quoted company, in 2017. So, when it became time to choose a location for our latest venture, we didn't have to look very long or very hard to settle on the GTC, and we were delighted to be back a second time around. It wasn't just the fantastic facilities that had been upgraded considerably since our original journey here. The biggest reason that brought us back to the Galway Technology Centre was the vibrant startup community, both in and around the GTC. Whether it's a technical issue that you may want to ask somebody about, or indeed bouncing an idea off a fellow founder, the member companies in the Galway Technology Centre are extremely supportive of each other and very quick and generous with their time and expertise. The management team here worked tirelessly to provide events and opportunities for the member companies, and we at Aptaris have benefited enormously from that over the years. Whether it's exposure in the national press, networking opportunities, or even online discussions and webinars, the Galway Technology Centre has always something going on for the member companies. And with the planned expansion of the GTC and AcademyWest, it appears that it's going to be the ideal location to build and scale companies, as well as the ideal launchpad for startups here in the west of Ireland. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the team at the Galway Technology Centre, both past and present, for all their efforts and support for our various ventures over the years. And I'm delighted to congratulate the Galway Technology Centre on achieving their 25th anniversary, a pretty significant milestone for any technology-related enterprise. And I would like to wish them every success for the future.
Thanks, Carl. Our next speaker is Tomás Síocháin, CEO of the Western Development Commission. The WDC is a state agency tasked with the fostering and promoting of economic and social development of Ireland's western region and famous Atlantic coast. They are another important stakeholder of the centre, with both bodies being closely aligned. Inia Tomás, Cloisimuid ó Sinead ní Flearta, Ceannasaí Fiontaragus Fosiachta, Údarás na Gaeltachta, Ceapa Sinead má Cathaoirleach Westbic le déanaí. Tuigeann an tonad, an táhacht a bhaineann leis an Gaeilge i Warbert, go nó agus cultúr an Gaillimh, agus an Iartha na Tíre, agus be an tanga a Corc an Cín san obair leis an Údarás.
Development Commission. The Galway Technology Centre offers a vision of what a hub at scale can achieve, not only as part of the AEC network, but as part of the national network of hubs, bringing grassroots activity to regional scale, which allows for growth and development, not only in the city, but across the region. And well done to all that have put the work in to bring it to what we see today over all of those 25 years.
Cohortachas na muintir an GTC, on board, on Wanistúr Noreen Conway, agus muintir on unad na fintri fad a Tallonia on. Thomas de Chanya Kellera on upper war ta dintek on unad cha na cúplin na fihed. Agus turn mud ard mola gonadini a honig soos, lish an conceap in the na cahed, agus na banistúri haar na blianta over na town hybre lahe dini ispraga agus a Lonuincha agus a Urbert gefad termach. Freshen leshen bualam graham gachrá ed on AcademyWest atá le fó ógartinja agus a bhés a chur leis an anad agus na seirbhísí bra atá an seo. Is de war na honad seo go bhfuil fintrí agan atá á spreaga agus a Herbert agus a fás agus tá go leor mar as ónhain ar fad go leor fintrí bailí tríd láva an onad seo agus tá na haibte dintacham. Guim gachrá is an bhainisteoir agus an ward agus na fintrí a bheith slónaíonn seo na blianta amachróin a háirteachas linn.
Míle buíochas Sinead agus Tomás. Our next speaker is the head of the Enterprise for Local and Enterprise Office here in Galway, somebody that's been already name-checked twice. Breda Fox joined the Enterprise Board Network in 2010 and has led the service delivery of the agency in Galway ever since.
So good morning. Breda Fox is my name. I'm Head of Enterprise with the Local Enterprise Office Galway. And prior to that, I was Chief Executive of the County and City Enterprise Boards in Galway. As in my day job, we're very active in supporting the clients and tenants of the Galway Technology Centre. Indeed, over the last 25 years, we've supported 16 clients in financial supports to help them scale and grow their businesses. And of those, 6 of those businesses have gone on to become full Enterprise Ireland clients, which means that they employ more than 10 people and they're exporting. And to name a few, Ordo, which was Starlight Solutions led by Paul Killorn, who's MC here today, is one of those. Ninth Impact, Hillwalk Tours, Embryonics, Ovus Technologies. We also currently support existing tenants that are there today, and I'd like to name call those as well. Apteris, Advanced 3D Technologies, Access Healthcare, and Medidea, who are doing great work in scaling and growing and developing their client base. The work that our clients are doing there would not be as successful without the efforts of the management team on the ground in the Galway Technology Centre, in supporting their clients, in developing a very active community and network of supports where they engage, hold special events, which we indeed have helped with and worked with them on in the past. And it is such an important thing to early stage businesses as they scale and grow, that they feel part of a network, that they feel part of a community. And it helps them work with like-minded people, other businesses that are in the centre, as well as being able to network through the contacts of the management team. So I'd like to congratulate the Galway Technology Centre, the management team there, and the directors. I've just recently been appointed to the board representing Westpic on the board of the Technology Centre. So I'm particularly excited about the next phase of growth of the centre as AcademyWest develops. And I know that we will have as much success and we will be equally active in supporting our clients as their businesses grow employment, add to the economic development for Galway City, and scale and grow. So congratulations on the work so far. We're only part of the way along. I know the next 25 years will be equally exciting. Thank you.
Thank you, Breda. Many thanks as well for mentioning Ordo. It seems it's a common thread today. People join the GTC and then they end up talking to Breda, who tells them where to go next. The same was true of ourselves when we first moved into the GTC. I approached Breda with an idea to build a platform for scientific and scholarly communities. And Breda was the first person to believe in Ordo. And thanks to her faith, the company today employs 17 people, claims every major university as a customer, and has been used by nearly 800,000 researchers. We are truly grateful for all of the supports we have received, as I'm sure that all the other companies working with the Leo are too. Breda mentions the graduation of Leo clients to full enterprise clients, which leads nicely on to our next speaker. Enterprise Ireland has been a key ally of Galway Technology Centre from the outset. They have rightly recognised the importance of the facility, supporting it and promoting its role. That assistance has reached all levels of engagement, from enabling the member companies to encourage the centre and advocating for it on a national level. We are honoured to have Maeve Conahan, the new Regional Director of West Region for Enterprise Ireland, join us today.
Hello, my name is Maeve Conahan, recently appointed Regional Director for Enterprise Ireland in the West. Supporting regional enterprise development and working with businesses across all regional locations to help them achieve their global ambition is a key priority for us. Enterprise Ireland has had a symbiotic relationship with the GTC for over 20 years now, and therefore we are truly delighted to be involved with the celebrations today. My colleague Pat O'Grady was on the board for more than 19 years and remains as chair of the Audit and Risk Committee, so you can see that we work closely together. As well as investing in the development of the centre itself, Enterprise Ireland has also invested in the GTC tenants, with more than €12 million being invested over the past 20 years. Much of this in R&D, which is the bedrock of all good technology, strong, innovative digital companies. As they say, ní neart go cur le chéile, and I truly believe that collaboration is key in all things regional development. The strategic partnering of Westbic and the GTC is one such collaboration, and one which is applauded by all the tenants within the GTC Centre. Another good collaboration was when Thermo King many years ago, when they were one of the biggest employers in the city, approached NUIG with a technical problem. An R&D project ensued and Blue Tree Technologies was born. Blue Tree were a tenant of the GTC, and they went on to grow to become one of the most successful Irish fleet management technology companies. Their technology is now in use by many refrigerated trucks and vans all over the world today. And whilst the success of Blue Tree resulted in them relocating out of the GTC and ultimately being acquired, all was not lost, as that company has spawned several startups in the Galway city region today, which is fantastic. Carol Lusted spoke about Apteris slightly earlier, and it's a very exciting development. This shows the power of collaboration and also the development of a telematics cluster in Galway City. Another example of one of the current tenants working with the Irish Passport Office. Their encryption software allows you and I to apply online for our passports without leaving the comfort of our own homes or offices. So a fantastic, innovative development. There are many other examples, and I know you've heard of some of the others today. I want to wish the GTC well with their new and exciting extension, AcademyWest. Enterprise Ireland is delighted to be involved with the support of this through the government's Regional Enterprise Development Fund and also as a key driver of Enterprise Ireland's Powering the Region strategy. Finally, I want to congratulate Frank and the Board of Directors and the GTC management team past and present for their Trojan work over the past 25 years. Cógáirde has levelig agus gur míle maithagah.
Gur míle mágat Maeve as ochta chud foclíonn sin. Of course, the work of Enterprise Ireland is closely aligned with the objectives identified by the government. In devising those objectives, it is vital that the government understands our local business environment. Minister Hildegard Naughton continues to act as a champion for the centre at cabinet level and in the Oireachtas. We are delighted she is participating today, providing her perspective on the strategic role of the centre.
Hugely valuable to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Galway Technology Centre's foundation, and in doing so, I would like to look to the future. Government has prioritised regional enterprise, and 2/3 of all jobs supported by Enterprise Ireland are now located outside of Dublin. Balanced regional development was a cornerstone of our programme for government, and we're making good on our commitments in that regard. As we seek to manage the recovery, it's vital that it reaches every corner of our country and that nobody is left behind. The regeneration of rural Ireland and the regions has been at the centre of our decision making. Since 2016, around 60% of the jobs created have been outside Dublin in what is a rebalancing of economic development intended to benefit many parts of the country that were untouched by previous periods of growth. The Regional Enterprise Development Fund is one of the mechanisms through which the government has sought to implement its policies on regional development. It supports every region to build on its strengths and create sustainable jobs. In that light, I was very pleased to support the Galway Technology Centre in the last round of funding, which saw an award of €4 million. This funding to the centre will see its expansion and the development of AcademyWest, incorporating a dynamic team of commercially focused resources to generate a culture of enterprise scaling. The project will help to create and sustain 505 direct and 323 indirect jobs by year 5, creating an additional gross value added impact of €62.4 million to the regional economy annually. Over the longer term, an estimated impact of 1,535 direct jobs and 982 indirect jobs in the regional economy, with a projected GVA impact of 190 million over 15 years. Given the track record of the centre to date, I have no doubt that that target will be met. While I know you'll have a further discussion on this after my presentation, I just wanted to note its importance for Galway and the West. Everyone will be familiar with Winston Churchill's quotations, whether it was about fighting on the beaches or another wartime statement. However, there is one less famous quote, which is apt here. Some people regard private enterprise as a predatory tiger to be shot. Others look at it as a cow they can milk. Not enough people see it as a healthy horse pulling a sturdy wagon. The Galway Technology Centre has been that horse for over 25 years, pulling the economy in Galway and the West along. Since its inception, GTC has supported over 300 companies, over 3,000 jobs, and €1.3 billion GVA to the Western region. More importantly, that's 3,000 people and their families, and many, many thousands more have felt the benefits of the opportunities and employment that the centre has afforded. Many in Galway will have forgotten the closure of the digital plant, which led to the opening of the Technology Centre. Digital Equipment Corporation opened its Galway factory in 1971. At its peak, Digital employed over 1,200 people in Galway. There was talk of the devastation of the local economy when over 700 people lost their jobs. In some ways, this was actually the beginning of a hugely successful period in Galway's economic history, with multiples of that 700 jobs being supported by this centre alone. When this centre was established, social enterprise in Ireland was in its infancy. There is now a wide spectrum of social enterprises in Ireland, from local community-based enterprises to larger enterprises, some of which trade internationally. They create employment and support many government policy objectives in areas such as labour market activation, healthcare, technology, and the environment. Given our experience with COVID-19, there is a greater need now more than ever for a strong support system for social entrepreneurs in Ireland, with more understanding of the concept and the reality of social entrepreneurship. A commitment to build on the National Social Enterprise Policy 2019 to 2022 is integral to the programme for government, which I helped negotiate, and it was published in June 2020. At its heart, social enterprises such as the Galway Technology Centre are businesses that can succeed while helping others, being successful while at the same time doing something good for the community. There is absolutely no doubt that the Galway Technology Centre fits perfectly into that definition. Finally, I would like to thank the Chair of Galway Technology Centre, Frank Green, for his invitation to speak to you today. And I want to take this opportunity to wish the Centre all the very best in what I know will be an exciting future.
Thank you, Minister. Well, so far we've discussed the history of the centre and looked extensively at its role it occupies today. But what comes next? In our next segment, Noreen Conway will give us a glimpse into the centre's next phase of development. Noreen took up the role of acting manager in the centre at the beginning of the year. She joined the centre in 2018, having come from banking, where she worked as a business relationship manager role, delivering services and supports to startups and scale-up businesses. She will be telling us about the exciting plans for the AcademyWest expansion and what they mean for the future of GTC. Noreen?
Thank you, Paul. We couldn't let this opportunity go without sharing some details about the AcademyWest expansion. This project represents an exciting new phase for the centre, one that will multiply our impact in terms of job creation and investment. AcademyWest is more than simply an extension. It is what that extension represents for the centre, for Galway and for the West. As we've been hearing today, Galway Technology Centre has always been about supporting the ICT ecosystem in this area. That was the reason why the centre was born, and it remains the impetus for all the centre's future plans. We have an important role to play in supporting scaling innovation-driven enterprises throughout the West, and we are determined to continue to fulfil that mission. The expansion came about through a need to address capacity constraints. Already, there are 41 companies active in the centre, and we fully expect to see that number grow substantially in the coming months and years. We need to be able to continually provide space for growing ICT enterprises in this region, from startups and early stage businesses to those who are further along in their corporate journeys. We want to give them the room and opportunity they need to scale. We want to enable employment growth through client companies by continuing to offer intensive supports and space. We want to see the knowledge economy and the tech cluster across the West continue to grow. We want to keep attracting and retaining dynamic startups and innovative businesses to Galway. And we want Galway Technology Centre to become even more of a beacon for entrepreneurship and innovative-driven businesses throughout the West. We want to show the global ambition of this centre. AcademyWest will help us achieve all of those objectives. So in terms of the practicalities, as you can see from this image, the expansion will have a marked impact on the centre. For a start, we'll be adding an extra 2 stories, raising the height of the facility from 2 floors to 4. Physically, the project will add an extra 22,000 square feet to the centre. That will increase our total floor area to 72,000 square feet. The expansion will also include dedicated conferencing and meeting space. We also expect it to build on the mentoring and business supports currently provided. This will be a dynamic, modern facility incorporating all the latest high-spec materials and standards. Once complete, we fully expect it to create thousands of jobs and massive levels of investment in the region over the course of the next 15 years. We would especially like to thank Enterprise Ireland for their assistance with this project and their ongoing support of the centre. We really believe this enhanced modern facility will have a further transformative effect on the regional ICT ecosystem here in the West. It will help attract and retain dynamic, high-performance startups who wish to scale their enterprise and also act as a second site for growing, innovative companies. The scope and benefits of this project will be widely felt. We are delighted that we could share a small glimpse about this exciting project on a day when we celebrate the history of Galway Technology Centre. We expect we'll have further details to share with you in the coming weeks and months. We're very excited to be firmly placing a foot forward towards our dynamic future, and we hope everyone involved in the centre is as excited about this project as we are. Thank you, and I'll pass you over to Paul.
Thanks very much, Noreen. Wow, that's really, really exciting. Actually, beginning to reconsider my decision to leave the GTC in the first instance. Maybe you might have me back. So we'll all be very excited to see this development progress over the weeks and months ahead. But unfortunately for all of you, you don't get to listen to me for very much longer because we're nearly at the end of today's event. So I'd just like to welcome back the Galway Technology Centre Chairman, Frank Green, to officially conclude proceedings.
Our Can GTC or Amila Mohagiv Sarven Cho Anu. Thank you for joining us for Scaling Our Legacy. We hope you have enjoyed these proceedings, learnt more about the extensive history of Galway Technology Centre, and can also see why we are very excited about the next phase of our journey. This has been a special event which has certainly meant a lot to all of us involved with the centre. On behalf of Galway Technology Centre, I would like to thank all the various contributors who have participated. Here na Galway, Councillor Mike Cuppert, An Taoiseach and Minister for Enterprise, Trade and Employment Leo Varadkar TD, Minister for State for International, Road Transport and Logistics Hildegard Naughton TD, David Minton, Príomh NWRA, Maeve Coonahan, Juror Rigunach, Enterprise Ireland, Katrina Blewett, Juror Rigunach, IDA, Ciarán O'Hegarty, Uachtarán na Hallscoile, Dr. Orla Flynn, Uachtarán, GMIT, Mary Rogers from GCID, Sinead Ní Raharta, as Údras na Gaeltachta, Tomás Síocháin, Príomh WDC, JP Gilmartin, Uachtarán, Cumann Tráchtála na Galway, agus John Brennan, Príomh Westbic for taking part in the first panel discussion. Seamus Keating for sparing the time to accept the first Innovator of the West Award. Cócáirdeas a rís, Seamus. All our various members and alumni who were involved in today's event. Denise Tormey of PlanNet 21, Karen Lusted of Opturus, David Stoppard of Siren, Brenda Dooley of Access Consulting, Mark Quick of Ninth Impact, as well as all our other members and alumni for their ongoing support. A special thanks to our wonderful MC, Paul Killoran, who kept proceedings engaging and entertaining throughout. Thank you as well to the many individuals, companies and organisations who provided such warm messages of support in the run-up to today's event. Of course, a lot of work goes on behind the scenes in producing an event like this. I would like to take a few moments to thank everyone who allowed this celebration to happen. Our videographers from GK Media, the wonderful crew at Sound to Light who have made running this virtual event possible. Kenny Deary, Emma O'Reilly, Elaine Murphy and all the Galway Chamber team. Jimmy Healy of Cogency for his assistance with the event management and PR around the event. Today simply wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for the immense work put in by Noreen Conway and Tomás Fisher. The Centre truly owes them a debt of gratitude for all the work they have put into this event and for their ongoing efforts in leading and managing the Centre. Bhálam Bhuicad Speisialta a Gabhá Lenar, shareholders freshen, Cumann Tráchtála na Galway, Westbic, agus stakeholders specialty, Enterprise Ireland for their enormous support over the past 25 years. Bhuicad Cumá to our directors, both past and present, who volunteered 25 years of their time and professional experience to the governance and growth of Galway Technology Centre, a truly staggering commitment. Lastly, we would like to thank you all for joining us for scaling our legacy. We hope you will take away a sense of the important role Galway Technology Centre plays in the ICT ecosystem of Galway and across the entire Western region. Our growth has always been built on the success of our members, and we hope that our exciting plans for AcademyWest and the future of Galway Technology Centre will allow us to celebrate many more triumphs in the years to come. Slán, agus go míle maith agaibh go léir.
Míle buchas, Frank. The Centre would also like to thank Breda Fox of the local enterprise office in Galway. And sadly, that's our event. We hope you've learned a lot more about the proud history of the Galway Technology Centre, as well as the contribution it makes to the innovation and ICT ecosystem of Galway and across the West. A role we look forward to seeing it continue to fulfil for a very, very long time to come. Please continue to follow the Centre for all the latest news about the AcademyWest expansion, along with updates of the exciting progress of many of the member companies who call the Centre home. On behalf of the Galway Technology Centre, thank you for joining us for Scaling Our Legacy. Harcean Onad Technolic na Gaillimhe, bhfuil an buchas a gabhá libh fad, a bhearnar deanta do Scaling Our Legacy. Bear bua agus slán fóg.